I became a stepmother 3 years ago. Not suddenly, not dramatically, more like quietly slipping into an already formed rhythm of life. My stepson, Ethan, was 12 at the time. He was polite, reserved, and strangely mature for his age. He never rejected me, but he never fully welcomed me either. Our relationship was made up of short greetings, occasional shared meals, and the kind of smiles you give to a guest you've grown familiar with. But over the past few months, something changed. It started with skipped dinners. At first I thought it was teenage appetite swings, but then he stopped coming to breakfast too. He would leave earlier than usual for school and go straight to his room when he returned, shutting the door with a silence louder than any slam. His eyes, once curious and clear, now seemed heavy, like he was constantly trying not to cry or scream. Late at night, I'd hear faint noises through the corridor. Sometimes restless pacing, sometimes muffled breathing as if he was trying to calm himself down. Once, I even heard a soft whimper, quickly silenced. That night, I stood frozen by my bedroom door, my hand hovering near the handle. I wanted to help, but a question held me back. What if he doesn't want me to? I brought it up to my husband, the man I married, the father he adored. But he brushed it off casually. He's just growing up, he said. Teenagers get moody. He'll get over it. Maybe other mothers would have nodded and let it go. But I couldn't. Even if I hadn't given birth to him, I had watched him grow. I had seen the way he avoided eye contact lately, how his hands trembled slightly when he touched his backpack, how his voice cracked when he told us, everything's fine. Everything was not fine. One evening, I prepared his favorite pasta and knocked on his door. No response. I knocked again. Silence. I sighed, placed the plate outside, and whispered through the door. I don't want to bother you. I just want you to know, I'm here. No answer. That night, while washing dishes, I caught my reflection in the kitchen window. I didn't look like a mother, at least not one he trusted. But somewhere inside me, something shifted. A quiet decision formed. Maybe I wasn't his real mother. But I refused to be just a bystander in his pain. So the next night, when I heard those soft sounds from his room again, I didn't walk past. I stood at his door. I placed my hand on the knob. And I told myself, I won't stay silent anymore. The next night, I didn't hesitate. I opened Ethan's door gently, expecting him to be asleep. But he wasn't. He was sitting on the floor beside his bed, hunched over his phone, shaking. His breathing was uneven, half panic, half exhaustion. He didn't even notice I was there at first. Then he looked up. His face went pale. What are you doing here? He snapped, scrambling to hide the phone under his pillow. I heard you, I said softly. You sounded upset. I'm fine, he spat, wiping his face aggressively. Get out. His voice wasn't angry, it was broken. That hurt more than shouting ever could. I stayed where I was, not moving forward, not backing away. I'm not here to scold you, I whispered. I just want to know if you need help. He stared at me like I was speaking another language. His eyes turned glassy, but instead of tears, they hardened. You wouldn't understand, he muttered. You're not even my real mom. That line sliced through me. Not because it was cruel, but because it was honest. That's exactly how he felt. I took a slow breath. Maybe I'm not, I said quietly. But I still care. Silence. That was when his shoulders trembled again. His chin wobbled. His fists clenched. Something inside him cracked. He didn't say, help me, but his whole body did. I didn't reach for him. I waited. A moment later, he whispered, barely audible. They won't stop. My heart froze. Who? I asked. He didn't answer. Instead, He pulled his phone from under the pillow and handed it to me. I wish I could say I was surprised by what I saw. But I wasn't. I had seen stories like this on the news, heard parents talk about it happening to other kids. I never thought it would be our home. Dozens of messages, group chats, social media comments, laughter, edited photos of him, insults, threats, words no child should read, words no mother should see. Loser, freak, everyone knows. Just disappear already. His hands were shaking as he spoke. They said they're going to post my picture everywhere tomorrow. They said if I come to school, they'll. He stopped. His breathing grew shallow. I didn't think. I just moved. I wrapped my arms around him. Not tightly, not forcefully, just enough to let him know he wasn't alone. He didn't hug me back. But he didn't pull away. And in that moment, that was enough. The next morning, I didn't send him to school. I didn't tell him to be strong, or ignore them. I didn't give him a speech about courage. Instead, I told him, we're handling this together. I gathered screenshots, saved every message, every username. Evidence. Not for revenge. For protection. I called the school, requested an urgent meeting with the principal. My husband didn't fully understand at first. He still thought this was kids messing around. But when I handed him the phone and let him read the messages, he went silent. At school, I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I spoke calmly, firmly, professionally. This is harassment. This is mental abuse. And if the school doesn't take action, I will. The principal promised investigation. But I knew that wasn't enough. School punishment doesn't erase emotional damage. So I focused on Ethan. We began small routines. Morning walks instead of silent breakfasts. No deep talks. Just movement. Fresh air. Getting out of his head. At night, instead of staying in his room alone, he'd sit on the couch while I read or cooked. We didn't talk much. But silence felt different now. Comfortable. Shared. One night, he hesitantly asked, "Can we eat dinner together, just us?" I smiled. Of course. We started cooking together. Burnt toast, messy omelets, uneven pancakes. He laughed once. Just once. But it was the first real sound of happiness I had heard from him in months. Slowly, he opened up. Not with emotional speeches, but with small trust offerings. He'd ask, "Do you think it'll get better?" And I'd answer, "I don't think." I know. He'd ask, "What if they start again?" And I'd reply, "Then they'll deal with me first." Sometimes I caught him staring at me, not with annoyance or distance, but with curiosity. Like he was trying to understand why I cared. One evening, after dinner, he whispered so softly I almost missed it. "Thanks, Mom." He didn't realize he said it. But I did. And I went to bed that night knowing I had finally earned it. Months passed. The bullying stopped. Whether because of school intervention or because they got bored, I didn't care. What mattered was that Ethan was standing again. Not perfectly, but steadily. He joined a small gaming club at school and made a couple of real friends. The quiet kind, like him. He started helping me with groceries voluntarily. Sometimes he'd even make jokes at my expense, calling me overprotective, but smiling when he said it. One afternoon, while we were organizing the kitchen, he paused and looked at me. "Do you ever regret becoming my stepmom?" I froze. Then I laughed softly. "I didn't become your stepmom," I said. "I chose to be your mother." He looked away quickly, pretending to continue arranging plates, but I saw the warmth on his face. Later that night, before going to bed, he approached me with hesitation. "You know," he muttered, scratching his neck, "that night when you walked into my room, I thought you were going to yell. Or tell Dad. Or make it worse. But you didn't." I stayed quiet. He continued. If you hadn't, I don't know if I'd still be here. Those words hit me like lightning. I didn't respond. I simply hugged him. This time tighter. This time, he hugged back. Now, when I reflect, I realize something powerful. Motherhood is not defined by blood. It's defined by presence. You don't earn a child's trust by forcing love. You earn it by showing up when they expect you to walk away. So if anyone listening to this is a stepparent, or even a parent struggling to connect, remember this. Don't wait for them to ask for help. Most of the time, they won't. But if you listen closely, their silence will speak louder than words. And if you answer it with patience, not pressure, one day, they will look at you, not as an intruder in their life, but as the person who saved it.